The Great Bible, Genesis, the 29th chapter. Jacob cometh to Laban, and serveth 7 years for Rahel. Leah was brought to his bed instead of Rahel. He marrieth them both, and serveth yet 7 years more for Rahel. Leah conceiveth. The 29th chapter. Then Jacob lifted up his feet, and came into the east country. And as he looked about, behold, there was a well in the field, and 3 flocks of sheep lay thereby, for at that well were the flocks watered, and there was a great stone upon the well mouth. And thither were all the flocks brought, and they rolled the stone from the well's mouth, and watered the sheep, and put the stone again upon the well's mouth unto his place. And Jacob said unto them, Brethren, whence be ye? And they said, Of Haran are we. And he said unto them, Know ye Laban the son of Nahor? They said, We know him. And he said unto them, Is he in good health? And they said, He is in good health. And behold, his daughter Rahel cometh with the sheep. And he said, Lo, it is yet but high day, neither is it time that the cattle should be gathered together. Water ye the sheep, and go and feed them. And they said, We may not, until all the flocks be brought together, and till they roll the stone from the well's mouth, and so we water our sheep. While he yet talked with them, Rahel came with her father's sheep, for she kept them. As soon as Jacob saw Rahel, the daughter of Laban his mother's brother, and the sheep of Laban his mother's brother, he went and rolled the stone from the well's mouth, and watered the flock of Laban his mother's brother. And Jacob kissed Rahel, and lifted up his voice, and wept. And Jacob told Rahel that he was her father's brother, and Rebekah's son. Therefore ran she and told her father. And it happened, when Laban heard tell of Jacob his sister's son, he ran to meet him, and embraced him, and kissed him, and brought him to his house. And he told Laban all the matter. To whom Laban said, Well, thou art my bone and my flesh. And he abode with him the space of a month. And Laban said unto Jacob, Though thou be my brother, shouldest thou therefore serve me for naught? Tell me, what shall thy wages be? Laban had 2 daughters, the eldest called Leah, and the youngest Rahel. Leah was tender-eyed, but Rahel was beautiful and well-favored. And Jacob loved Rahel, and said, I will serve thee 7 years for Rahel, thy youngest daughter. Laban answered, It is better that I give her thee, than to another man. Bide with me. And Jacob served 7 years for Rahel, and they seemed unto him but a few days, for the love he had to her. And Jacob said unto Laban, Give me my wife, that I may lie with her, for my days are fulfilled. Then Laban gathered together all the men of that place, and made a feast. And when even was come, he took Leah his daughter, and brought her to him, and he went in unto her. And Laban gave unto his daughter Leah Zilpah his maid, to be her servant. To whom when Jacob came in according to the custom. And when the morning was come, behold, it was Leah. Then said he to Laban, Wherefore hast thou played thus with me? Did not I serve thee for Rahel? Wherefore then hast thou beguiled me? Laban answered, It is not the manner of this place, to marry the youngest before the eldest. Pass out this week, and then shall this also be given thee for the service which thou shalt serve me yet 7 years more. And Jacob did even so, and passed out the week. And then he gave him Rahel, his daughter, to wife also. And Laban gave to Rahel his daughter, Bilhah, his handmaid, to be her servant. So lay he by Rahel also, and loved Rahel more than Leah, and served him yet 7 years more. When the Lord saw that Leah was despised, he made her fruitful, and Rahel remained barren. And Leah conceived and bare a son, and called his name Reuben, for she said, The Lord hath looked upon my tribulation. Now, therefore, my husband will love me. And she conceived again, and bare a son, and said, The Lord hath heard that I am despised, and hath therefore given me this son also. And she called his name Simeon. And she conceived yet, and bare a son, and said, Now this once will my husband keep me company, because I have borne him 3 sons. And therefore was his name called Levi. And she conceived yet again, and bare a son, saying, Now will I praise the Lord. Therefore she called his name Judah, and left bearing. The 30th chapter. Rahel and Leah, being both barren, give their maidens unto their husband, and they bear him children. Jacob deceiveth Laban in the conceiving of the sheep and kids. Jacob's reward for his service. The 30th chapter. Rahel, when she saw that she had bare Jacob no children, she envied her sister, and said unto Jacob, Give me children, or else I am but dead. And Jacob was wroth with Rahel, saying, Am I in God's stead, which keepeth from thee the fruit of thy womb? Then she said, Here is my maid Bilhah, go in unto her, and she shall bear upon my lap, that I may be increased by her. And she gave him Bilhah her handmaid to wife. And Jacob went in unto her, and Bilhah conceived, and bare Jacob a son. Then said Rahel, God hath given sentence on my side, and hath also heard my voice, and hath given me a son. Therefore called she him Dan. And Bilhah, Rahel's maid, conceived again, and bare Jacob another son. And Rahel said, With godly wrestlings have I wrestled with my sister, and have gotten the upper hand. And she called his name Naphtali. When Leah saw that she had left bearing, she took Silpah her maid, and gave her Jacob to wife. And Silpah, Leah's maid, bare Jacob a son. Then said Leah, Good luck, and called his name Gad. And Silpah, Leah's maid, bare Jacob another son. Then said Leah, Happy am I, for the daughters will call me blessed. And called his name Aser. And Reuben went out in the days of the wheat harvest, and found mandragoras in the fields, and brought them unto his mother Leah. Then said Rahel to Leah, Give me of thy son's mandragoras. To whom Leah answered, Is it not enough that thou hast taken away my husband, but wouldest take away my son's mandragoras also? Then said Rahel, Well, let him sleep with thee this night, for thy son's mandragoras. And Jacob came from the fields at even, and Leah went out to meet him, and said, Come into me, for I have bought thee with my son's mandragoras. And he slept with her that night. And God heard Leah, that she conceived and bare unto Jacob the 5th son. Then said Leah, God hath given me a reward. because I gave my maiden to my husband, and she called him Issachar. And Leah conceived yet again, and bare Jacob the sixth son. And Leah said, God hath endowed me with a good dowry. Now will my husband dwell with me, because I have borne him 6 sons, and called his name Zabulon. After that she bare a daughter, and called her name Dinah. And God remembered Rahel, heard her, and made her fruitful, so that she conceived and bare a son, and said, God hath taken away my rebuke. And she called his name Joseph, saying, The Lord give me yet another son. As soon as Rahel had borne Joseph, Jacob said to Laban, Send me away, that I may go unto my own place and country. Give me my wives and my children, for whom I have served thee, and let me go, for thou knowest what service I have done thee. To whom Laban answered, If I have found favor in thy sight, for I suppose that the Lord hath blessed me for thy sake, appoint what thy reward shall be, and I will give it thee. But he said unto him, Thou knowest what service I have done thee, and in what taking thy cattle have been under me. For it was but little that thou hadst before I came, and now it is increased into a multitude, and the Lord hath blessed thee for my sake. But now, when shall I make provision for mine own house also? And he said, What shall I then give thee? And Jacob answered, Thou shalt give me nothing at all, if thou wilt do this one thing for me, and then will I turn again, and feed thy sheep and keep them. I will go about all thy sheep this day, and separate from them all the sheep that are spotted and of divers colors, and all black sheep among the lambs, and the party, and the spotted among the kids, and the same shall be my reward. So shall my righteousness answer for me. Tomorrow, and shall come for my reward before thy face. And every one that is not speckled and party among the goats, and black among the sheep, the same shall be theft with me. And Laban said, Go to. Would God it might be according to thy saying. Therefore he took out that same day the he-goats that were party and of divers colors, and all the she-goats that were spotted and party-colored, and all that had white in them, and all the black among the sheep, and put them in the keeping of his sons, and set 3 days' journey betwixt himself and Jacob. And so Jacob kept the rest of Laban's sheep. Jacob took rods of green poplar, hazel, and of chestnut trees, and pilled white strakes in them, and made the white appear in the rods, but they that were whole remained green. And thus was it made a variable color. And put the rods which he had pilled, even before the sheep, in the gutters and watering troughs, when the sheep came to drink, that they should conceive when they came to drink. And the sheep conceived before the rods, and brought forth lambs straked, spotted, and party. And Jacob parted the lambs, and turned the faces of the sheep toward spotted things, and toward all manner of black that was among the sheep of Laban, namely, putting his own flocks by themselves, and not putting them with Laban's sheep. And it fortuned that in every ramming time of the stronger sheep, Jacob laid the rods before the eyes of the sheep in the gutters, namely, that he might make them conceive before the rods. But when the sheep were feeble, he put them not in. And so the feebler were Laban's, and the stronger Jacob's. And the man increased exceedingly, and had a great flock, maidservants and manservants, camels and asses. The 31st chapter. At the commandment of God, Jacob departed from Laban, and took his gods with him. Rahel stealeth her father's images. Laban followeth Jacob. The covenant between Laban and Jacob. The 31st chapter. But he heard the words of Laban's sons, saying, Jacob hath taken away all that was our father's, and of our father's goods hath he gotten all this honor. And Jacob beheld the countenance of Laban, and behold, it was not as yesterday, and ere yesterday. And the Lord said unto Jacob, Turn again into the land of thy fathers, and to thy kindred, and I will be with thee. Therefore Jacob sent, and called Rahel and Leah to the field unto his flock, and said unto them, I see your father's countenance, that it is not toward me, as yesterday, and ere yesterday. But the God of my father hath been with me. And ye know how that I have served your father with all my might. But your father hath deceived me, and changed my wages 10 times. But God suffered him not to hurt me. When he said, The spotted shall be thy wages, then all the sheep bare spotted. And when he said, The straked shall be thy reward, then bare all the sheep straked. Thus hath God taken away your father's sheep, and given them me. But in ramming time it happened, that I lifted up mine eyes, and saw in a dream, and behold, the rams leaped upon the sheep that were straked, spotted, and party. And the angel of God spake unto me in a dream, saying, Jacob? And I answered, Here am I. And he said, Lift up now thine eyes, and see all the rams leaping upon the sheep that are straked, spotted, and party. For I have seen all that Laban doth unto thee. I am the God of Bethel, where thou anointedst the stone, and where thou vowedst a vow unto me. Now therefore arise, and get thee out of this country, and return unto the land where thou wast born. Then answered Rahel and Leah, and said unto him, Have we a portion and inheritance in our father's house? Doth not he count us even as strangers? For he hath sold us, and hath even eaten up our money. But all the riches which God hath taken from our father, that is ours and our children's. And now whatsoever God hath said unto thee, that do. Then Jacob rose up, and set his sons and wives up upon camels, and carried away all his flocks, and all his substance which he had procured, his riches and possessions which he had gotten in Mesopotamia, for to go to Isaac his father unto the land of Canaan. But Laban was gone to shear his sheep, and Rahel had stolen her father's images. And Jacob stale away the heart of Laban the Syrian, in that he told him not that he fled. So fled he and all that he had, and made himself ready, and passed over the river, and set his face straight toward the Mount Gilead. Upon the 3rd day after was it told Laban that Jacob fled. Then he took his brethren with him, and followed after him, 7 days' journey, and overtook him at the Mount Gilead. And God came to Laban the Syrian in a dream by night, and said unto him, Take heed that thou speak not to Jacob aught save good. And Laban overtook Jacob, and Jacob had pitched his tent in the mount. And Laban with his brethren pitched their tent also upon the Mount Gilead. And Laban said to Jacob, Why hast thou this done, to steal away my heart, and carry away my daughters, as though they had been taken captive with the sword? Wherefore wentest thou away secretly, unknown to me, and didst not tell me, that I might have brought thee on the way with mirth, singing, timbrel, and harp, and hast not suffered me to kiss my children and my daughters? Thou wast a fool now to do it, for I am able to do you evil. But the God of your father spake unto me yesterday, saying, Take heed that thou speak not to Jacob aught save good. And now, though thou wentest thy way, because thou longest after thy father's house, yet wherefore hast thou stolen my gods? Jacob answered and said to Laban, Because I was afraid, and thought that thou wouldest have taken away thy daughters from me. But, whereas thou layest theft to my charge, with whomsoever thou findest thy gods, let him die, here before our brethren. Seek that thine is by me, and take it to thee. But Jacob wist not that Rahel had stolen them. Then went Laban into Jacob's tent, and into Leah's tent, and into the two maidens' tents, but found them not. Then went he out of Leah's tent, and entered into Rahel's tent. And Rahel had taken the images and put them in the camel's straw, and sat down upon them. And Laban searched all the tent, but found them not. Then said she to her father, My lord, be not angry that I cannot rise up before thee, for the custom of woman is come upon me. So searched he, but found not those idols. And Jacob was wroth, and chode with Laban. Jacob also answered and said to him, What have I trespassed, or what have I offended, that thou followedest so after me? Thou hast searched all my stuff, and what hast thou found of all thy household stuff? Put it here before thy brethren and mine, that they may judge betwixt us both. Behold, this 20 years have I been with thee. Thy sheep and thy goats have not been barren, and the rams of thy flock have I not eaten. Whatsoever was torn of beasts, I brought it not unto thee, but made it good myself. Of my hand didst thou require it, even as it that was stolen by day or night. By day the heat consumed me, and the frost by night, and my sleep departed from mine eyes. Thus have I been 20 years in thy house, and served thee 14 years for thy 2 daughters, and 6 years for thy sheep, and thou hast changed my reward 10 times. And except the God of my father, the God of Abraham, and the fear of Isaac had been with me, surely thou hadst sent me away now all empty. But God beheld my tribulation, and the labor of my hands, and rebuked thee yesterday. Laban answered and said unto Jacob, These daughters are my daughters, and these children are my children, and these sheep are my sheep, and all that thou seest is mine. And what can I do this day unto these my daughters, or unto their children which they have borne? Now therefore come on, and let us make a bond, I and thou, which may be a witness between thee and me. Then took Jacob a stone, and set it up on end. And Jacob said unto his brethren, Gather stones. And they took stones, and made an heap. And they did eat there upon the heap. And Laban called it Jegar Sahadutha, but Jacob called it Gilead, either of them according to the property of his own language. Then said Laban, This heap is witness between thee and me this day. Therefore is it called Gilead, that is, a heap of witness, and Mizoph. For he said, The Lord look between me and thee, when we are departed one from another. if thou shalt vex my daughters, or shalt take other wives beside my daughters, here is no man with us. Behold, God be witness betwixt thee and me. And Laban said moreover to Jacob, Behold, this heap and this mark which I have set there, betwixt me and thee, this heap be witness, and also this mark, that I will not come over this heap to thee, and thou shalt not come over this heap and this mark unto me, to do any harm. The God of Abraham, the God of Nahor, and the God of their fathers be judge betwixt us. And Jacob sware by the fear of his father Isaac. Then Jacob did sacrifice upon the mount, and called his brethren to eat bread. And they did eat bread, and tarried all night in the hill. And early in the morning Laban rose up, and kissed his children and his daughters, and blessed them. And Laban, departing, went unto his place again.